Hey everyone! I hope you all had a great week. This last week I was able to go to Tikal with a group from my school, which is the biggest city in the old Mayan civilization. I also got to begin teaching English and experienced my very first earthquake. So one thing that's been cool about being here in Guatemala is the fact that I'm really exposed to more cultures than just the Guatemalan culture. This last week I said goodbye to a couple friends of mine who are from Congo who took a year off and are touring different places in Central and South America. We've also had people living in our house from different places in Europe and North America. So it's been a very good experience, and I look forward to what comes up after this. If you know me very well at all, you know how excited I am about teaching. So this week I was able to actually begin to teach English for the first time in a couple of different settings. Kind of flowing out of that came my first earthquake experience. On Friday, when I was sitting with Ivan teaching him some English, he all of a sudden got really, really still, looked off in the distance and said, "Do you feel it? Do you feel the movement?" And I had to think for a second, but I stopped what I was doing, and I could feel just a very slight tremble in the ground. And later on we found out it actually was an earthquake. It wasn't like a big bus that went by or something. But it wasn't real long, lasted for about 30-45 seconds, and wasn't very strong either. It was only like a 2 on the Richter scale. But it's the very first time I've ever been in an earthquake, and I have to say it was a very interesting experience. I hope it doesn't happen again, but I'm glad I was able to enjoy this one. So this last weekend, we took an all-day long Saturday trip to go see the Mayan ruins that are in Tikal. Tikal is in the region of Guatemala called Petén. It's one of the northernmost regions and is most famously known for the ruins of Tikal. The Mayan population is an indigenous population that has lived for thousands of years around the area of Central and to some extent into South America. They originally moved back, from what archaeological evidence shows, they originally moved there about 2000 BC, so 2000 before year 0, and ended up moving out somewhere, the majority of them ended up moving out somewhere between 900 and 1000 AD. Although there are still quite a number of indigenous Mayan people who still live in the areas of Central America today. So Tikal is the ruins of probably one of the most well-known cities of the Mayan population. And it was built during the time of the classical time period from about AD 200 to about AD 900. The city began to be abandoned around 900 AD, and there's a lot of people who have speculations about why exactly it happened. One of the most viable options, our tour guide told us, is that over a period of time they had a very long drought, so about 50 years that there was little to no rain. And the people tried to sacrifice more to their gods, and the rulers tried implementing laws, but in the end it just caused a lot of tension, political tension, and the people were starving to death, and with the political tension, and the rulers were fighting amongst each other and started warring and just throwing away the country's resources by doing that, and people just started leaving the cities and going back to the country, where many of the Mayan population live today. So all of the buildings in Tikal are made from a stone called limestone. It was easy to access because there's many quarries in the area around Tikal. But it's also one of the softest stones. As you can see in this video, I'm just crumbling it with my hand. As a result of that, as well as all of the rain, the markings on the limestone and the hieroglyphs, most of them have washed away over time. Luckily, there's been a few that maybe fell in a certain way that the rain didn't run on them or the sun didn't hit them as easily. But for the most part, a lot of the buildings, a lot of the hieroglyphs, and the finer carvings and art in here in Tikal have been completely destroyed because the stone is just so soft. So one of the very first places that we saw when we went there is the Central Metropolis kind of grand park area at the very center of the city. On one side of the plaza is Temple 1 and across from it is Temple 2. And both of these are believed to have been built by the same ruler, one for himself and one for his wife. There's a number of other smaller temples in the area as well as a really huge market. On top of that, off to one side is one of the ball courts where they used to play the traditional Mayan game where they had to get a ball through a hoop that was turned sideways, kind of like this. After that, we went to go see Temple 5, which is actually the oldest temple in all of Tikal, and it's pretty good size but was not safe enough for us to climb. After that, we walked over to what's called the Lost World, El Mundo Perdido. It's believed to be one of the oldest sections in all of Guatemala, but they haven't yet done any digging because the rainforest keeps growing in on it, and with like preservation issues, they haven't decided to go ahead and dig in that area. Then we walked through an area that's called the Plaza of the Seven Temples. This wasn't necessarily a site for religious purposes, but more of a site where they would study astronomy and predict the eclipses and the passing of the sun and the moon and the position it would hold in the sky. Our last stop was Temple 4, which is the biggest of all of the temples that they've discovered in Tikal, and was long believed to be the biggest temple in all of the Mayan civilization until they recently discovered a larger one at a different Mayan like the site of a different Mayan city.
So I just climbed Temple 4, the biggest one here at Tikal, and it's also the site where they filmed one of the old Star Wars movies.
So the word for this week is the word onda, which literally translated means wave, but not like an ocean wave, like a microwave or a sound wave transmitted from a tower. Here in Guatemala, though, the word has kind of a unique use. It's almost like the waves that something gives to you, the feeling something gives to you. A common greeting here in Guatemala is "Que onda," which loosely translated to English means like "what's up," but they use the word onda instead of up. They can also say something like, "That event gives me a good feeling." Este evento me da buena onda, a good feeling, or a bad feeling, mala onda, in the same kind of a context. So it's just something I've heard quite a bit around here and thought I would share it with you since it's such a unique thing to Guatemala. So thanks for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed it. This next week on Wednesday, we're heading out with our group to go visit San Antonio, Aguascalientes, which is a Mayan village that's not too far from Antigua. And if I'm lucky, I might be climbing Pacaya this weekend, so that will be really exciting. Have a great one. I'll talk to you later.